If you've watched my channel for any length of time, you know who Floppy is. He's that crazy mofo that can't keep his clothes on and wheeled that badass 7.3 liter diesel rock buggy that was always rolling coal on the trail. Maybe this will help you remember. Well, that diesel buggy was pretty beat down, and it was just too damn heavy for some of the buggy lines that everybody's taking here nowadays. So Floppy bought a rock lizard chassis and started building a completely new buggy. Most folks who buy a rock lizard chassis end up building them into something different than what the rock lizards are intended to run. And Floppy was no different. Floppy didn't want those weak Toyota axles that always seem to be broken constantly on the buggy trails. So he threw in a badass high pinion Dana 60 in the front and an almost indestructible 14 bolt in the rear. Then he said, screw those little Toyota engines and manual transmissions and dual transfer cases, and went with a supercharged V6 and auto trans and an Atlas transfer case. I'll let Floppy walk you around his rig and tell you about his new build. All right. So if you followed all of my previous videos, you know that Aaron Floppy Long had a 7.3 liter diesel buggy that he rolled for years. Sometimes literally rolled it, and it did pretty good, but it was a damn heavy pig. And now that everybody's crack whores walking through these cracks and doing all these crazy obstacles out here, he wanted something a little bit more lighter and nimble. And he basically bought a rock lizard chassis, heavily modified it to suit his needs, and this is the finished product right now. What kind of engine does this have in it, Aaron?
This has a 3.8 liter supercharger from a Buick Regal.
What kind of transmission did you hook it up with?
700 R4 from a 90 or a 88 S10 Blazer. Yeah.
You're running in a 2-speed Atlas?
Yeah, 2-speed Atlas.
Hell yeah. No, you got a rear-mounted radiator. Are you running it through the tube?
No.
Your coolant?
Nope. Made my own tube. Just inch and a half 065 wall tubing, just regular tubing to the rear radiator. This is a XJ aluminum radiator, 3-core.
The Jazz fuel cell?
Jazz hooked me up with another fuel cell, 16 gallon with a bladder inside of it and the anti-slosh foam. Victory Circle hooked me up with all steel braided and nylon 3/8 fuel lines, all AN fittings, pre-filter installed, running a Bosch 044 race pump, all 3/8 steel braided line, ran through the center, converted all AN fittings to the motor.
And this is running a Kingpin 60 front and 14 bolt rear.
Yep, Kingpin 60, just a Grizzly, East Coast gear. Hooked me up with some chromoly axles. Flora Parks hooked me up, got me 513 gears. Of course, running the old winch. Flora Parks hooked me up with a little badass little 10-inch light bar. That thing is stupid bright.
Let's see, you got split brake pedals front and rear.
Yep, another thing, Victory Circle hooked me up with the master cylinders. Have one control in the rear, so I can do front digs. This one controls the front. Victory Circle hooked me up with a circle dirt track kind of style
gas pedal.
Josh Mouton came over here and we heavily modified that to run it all, since the throttle body is on the back side of the motor, so it was harder to figure out how to run gas pedals.
And since this was in a front wheel drive application, your intake's in the rear, what'd you do for the air filter on it?
Air filter, just a little AutoZone stubby thing. It's hard to see. Ain't much room back there for anything.
How do you change that out?
You gotta remove the dash. It's gonna be a pain.
Oh, okay.
Or,
I see. It's
or remove the center here.
Okay, it's right behind that.
Yeah.
All right. What are your future build plans with this?
Rear steer.
Rear steer?
Rear steer and stickies.
This little light buggy with rear steer and stickies is going to be unstoppable.
Yeah. 3,500 pounds.
3,500. Very nice.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to show you some video right now from Sand Hollow, Utah, of Floppy out getting floppy in this thing. I hope you enjoyed it. Okay, now turn in.
If I was in my old rig, I would have done bent over.
Yeah. Okay, you're gonna have to drop your front tire in real slow. Real slow. It's yours now, man.
No. Maybe? There he goes. Woo!
So as you can see from that video, Floppy's new buggy is a real improvement over his last buggy. You know, it points and shoots really well. It's very stable. It's easy to drive even for his wife. And it has plenty of power when he needs it. Floppy has perfected the art of building unique, kick-ass rigs on a budget. And this buggy is no different. And before you ask, the wheelbase on this buggy is 113 inches. His belly height is 19 inches. The axles are full width axles. The engine's an L67 Series 2 supercharged V6. And the total weight is 3,560 pounds, and that's weighed on a certified CAT scale. Floppy has future plans to turn his rear axle into a rear steer 14-bolt steering axle and to add sticky tires onto the buggy. And when he does that, this rig's going to be pretty unstoppable. So I hope you enjoyed this walk around of Floppy's badass new Rock Lizard buggy, and maybe it gave you some ideas for your own build. As always, thanks for watching, and keep the rubber side down.